Hello, this is Jason Wood with BoatTest.com. I'm here with Mike Horak, Powertrain Director, Mercury Marine. We have some exciting news for Mercury Optimax fans. As many of you know, Mercury Optimax two-stroke outboards ceased production in May of 2018 with the introduction of some new Mercury outboards. But Optimax fans like the powerful two-stroke torque at the low end of the RPM range for quick acceleration, something that four-stroke engines can't duplicate. Further, many boats on the market were designed years ago specifically for two-stroke engines. For example, this test of a Nitro Z19 that we did in 2017 shows performance that's hard to beat, with a time to plane of 2.9 seconds, fuel economy of 5.3 miles per gallon at best cruise, and a top speed of 68 miles per hour. The good news is that Mercury's Quicksilver division has recently introduced some new products that will allow fans of the Optimax to continue to take advantage of its low-end torque, lightweight, and other features. Mike, what are we looking at?
Thanks, Jason. What we have here is a fully dressed Powerhead for Optimax products. They're available from 200 to this model, a 300 horsepower model, in order to service Optimax for years to come. What it's constructed of is a remanufactured Powerhead, blueprinted and fully assembled by our trained technicians, dressed out with all new components. So new air pump, fuel system, it's also factory hot tested and just ready to go. A dealer can install this typically within 2 to 3 hours and have somebody back on the water in no time at all.
It sounds like an interesting solution. We got to look at the remanufacturing facility. Let's see what we found. The idea came from competitive bass tournaments, where Mercury supports its sponsored anglers with a service team. Their trailer carries dress powerheads, props, and other parts, anything that the anglers could need. In that way, the Mercury support team could get the tournament anglers back on the water quickly and in the money. The new dress powerheads can be exchanged for the old Optimax powerheads and bolted onto the existing outboard leg. That effectively gives the owner a new engine on top of the old midsection and lower unit. The exchange can be made by any authorized Mercury outboard dealer in 2 to 3 hours. Now, Optimax owners don't have to buy a new four-stroke engine when it's time for new power. This is an important consideration because many boats were designed for two-stroke engines, not four-stroke. And the best part, owners of 20 and even 30-year-old Optimax outboards who opt for a dress powerhead repower don't get an engine that's the same as the one they turn in. The replacement powerheads have all the latest engineering upgrades, such as new pistons, gaskets, and other parts that were upgraded or improved during the intervening years. These are hand-built powerheads, made one at a time and not something off an assembly line. Each powerhead is assigned to a specific Mercury technician who tears down and then reassembles with new or rebuilt parts to make each powerhead as good or better than new. Here we see 4 outboard powerheads that have just arrived and are ready to start the remanufacturing process. They're disassembled and anything showing wear or that is out of spec is discarded. The remaining parts, such as this crankshaft, which can be reused, get put in inventory for further inspection and machining. The old blocks are immersed in a bath to get all the sludge off and taken down to bare metal, then are carefully inspected to make sure they're not warped or out of spec. Afterward, the block is heated to 500 degrees in an oven, and any bad liners are removed and tossed out. Blueprinting means the block is hand-checked for all tolerances and clearances, measured and inspected to make sure it is still up to Quicksilver standards. Cylinder liners are inspected, and if they need it, are machined to Quicksilver tolerances to make sure they fit perfectly in the block. Anything that doesn't pass inspection becomes scrap. The same goes for all other parts. They're either as good as new or rejected. The job of assembly goes quickly because the technicians are Optimax powerhead experts. The block itself is machined to make sure the gaskets are placed on a clean, flat surface. Pistons are joined to rods with all new needle bearings, assembled by hand. Because all parts are built to the right tolerances, they all go together quickly in skilled hands. The engine then gets dressed with all external components as it is rebuilt from the inside out, piece by piece. Every remanufactured dress powerhead is numbered and also stamped with the technician's initials, who literally built this individual unit from the block up. And these Mercury Quicksilver staff take pride in their work. When these Powerheads are all labeled and ready to ship, they're actually better than new, right down to the gold tone treatment on machine surfaces. That's called iridite, and it's a chromate coating that essentially fills the pores in the aluminum alloy, effectively reducing its surface area to help prevent corrosion. Now comes more amazing news. The dress Powerheads range from 200 to 300 horsepower, but they will all bolt onto what's called a 3-liter lower unit. So if a boater is looking for a power upgrade, a remanufactured 300 horsepower Powerhead will fit, in most cases, on what was a 200 or a 225 or a 250 horsepower outboard. That means that owners of an old 200 horsepower Powerhead can upgrade to a rebuilt 300 Optimax unit, thus getting a like-new Powerhead and a more powerful one at the same time. Naturally, Mercury recommends not exceeding Coast Guard max horsepower ratings for every boat.
With a carefully inspected Powerhead dressed out with all new parts, Quicksilver has a solution for Optimax owners that will help them keep their boats on the water for years to come. For BoatTest.com, this is Jason Wood.